Silent Hill 4 is one of the most controversial games of all time, and not for the reasons that you might think. You see, I've never experienced a Silent Hill game that has such a divided fanbase, as in you either really love this game or you fucking hate it. Like seriously, some people even think that this is the worst game in the franchise, which is just a tad extreme. I mean, how can you even say that when things like this exist? I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely deserved its fair share of scrutiny, but saying that it's the worst in the franchise is kinda insane. Well, to be fair, with new features like weapon durability, dodge roll, aneurysm, immortal ghost. Wait, what? Door. Story time. Awakening in this filthy ass apartment, this man casually climbs out of the wall and shakes that shit. This is Henry Townshend, and instead of being in Silent Hill, we're in Detroit. Sorry, I mean South Ashfield. Apparently, 5 days ago, this dude had a nightmare and has been stuck in this room ever since. His phone doesn't work, the TV is broken, no one can hear him, and this door has, like, a ton of locks. Looking through the peephole, we see our neighbor Eileen Galvin, and oddly 15 handprints on the wall behind her. Backing out, we can also find a note slipped under the door that says, "Mom, why doesn't you wake up?" Stupid, that's not even grammatically correct. It's almost like some dumb kid wrote that. In the fridge, we grab some chalky milk and a bottle of wine. Truly a man's fridge. Looking out the window, Henry observes this woman outside as she descends down into the subway. Before we explore too much, a nearby book tells me that it's important to travel lightly in that world. He who carries too heavy a burden will regret it.
This means that we now have an inventory limit. They really think this shit is RE, bro. This is not Resident Evil. Cut that shit out. As we enter the bathroom, Henry finds this hole in the wall. So Henry obtains a steel pipe, and fresh out of options, the last thing to do is to enter this hole. We crawl through this tunnel for like it's a long fucking time. Apparently Henry sat on this escalator without realizing, but we see the woman from earlier and she claims that this is her dream.
What's your name?
Henry. And you?
This is my dream, and you don't even know my name. It's Cynthia.
Your dream.
That's right. This is just a dream. And a really terrible one, too.
Since Cynthia believes that this is all a dream, she takes none of this seriously. She says that she wants to find the exit and would like for us to help her find it, even saying that she'll do a special favor for us later. So you know we gotta lock in! Not even 10 feet later, this woman is feeling horrible. So she urgently leaves into the restroom. But, this happens. Okay, so that happened. Here's the moment where I try to figure out how to equip my trusty steel pipe. And I had to line up the shot. I had to line up the shot before I went to town. Stupid bitch. Oops, almost forgot you. So anyways, we find a hole in the bathroom wall. But as we enter, Henry awakens in his bed once again. Going into the living room, we move this piece of furniture aside so we can spy on Eileen. Finding a message saying that someone was trying to tunnel their way out of the wall but couldn't go any further. And that this room felt like an entirely different dimension. But anyway, I pick up this pistol and holy shit, this phone is so damn annoying.
Where did you go? Hurry! Save me! If you need a token, there's one here!
Now, with a sense of urgency, we enter the hole once again. Upon arrival, we find this mannequin of Cynthia, and from its hand we obtain the lint street line coin. Back outside, I run past these dogs to snag some bullets, and they actually pissed me off so much that I couldn't ignore them anymore. We also see this big ass worm looking thing, and I'm gonna be honest, we're just gonna ignore that. As I struggle to use this coin, we are now introduced to one of the worst enemy archetypes in gaming history. These piece of shit ghosts. Yay! And you know what? I'll save my criticisms for later. Descending down some stairs, we hear... Entering the front of the train, Henry presses this button as it opens all of the car doors. With Cynthia now as our companion, the two traverse through this absolute maze of hell. And as I'm running, I get hit with a supreme defensive play. Talk about phantom hitboxes, am I right, guys? Seriously, fuck these ghosts. Finally reaching the other side, I can grab some more bullets and set foot into this room, but it seems that Cynthia couldn't make it for whatever reason. Regardless, we climb down this ladder just to go up another one, but at least I was rewarded with some bullets and the option to unlock this door. And it just so happens to lead back to the train, but I think we'll pass for now. Back down the ladder, there is some insane sound design. We are greeted by our worm friend once again, but as we progress, Cynthia exclaims,
Come to the turnstile. Henry, I found the exit. Come to the turnstile. Hurry! Hurry! It's him. He's coming.
Inside of this train, I fucking fight for my life like Ben from back at the barnyard. All for a damn measly golf club with durability. Anywho, we obtained this nutrition drink because the game knows that it's gonna put us through some absolute bullshit. We make our merry way up the escalator and never mind. Welcome to my favorite and also most hated section of this game. It's so excruciatingly frustrating, but also so fucking hilarious at the same time. As we finally arrive to the top, we attain even more bullets and a ghost tries to get me again. Up these stairs, we find various feminine products scattered all over the ground. Grabbing the temptation placard, Henry opens this door. We are met with an absolutely gruesome scene, with blood splattered all over the room. And Henry has the bright idea to ask,
Are you okay?
I don't know, Henry, what do you think? In her final moments, she still wants to believe that this is all a dream, even saying that she drank too much last night. As she passes away, Henry gets a closer look at the number 16121 carved into her chest, which will hold much more significance later. Cynthia clearly didn't deserve this, showing that whoever killed her is a sick and twisted individual. As we awaken in our bed once again, we're met with peak voice acting.
Man, what's that noise out there?
As we exit the room, we hear some commotion on the radio.
Hurry up and get that ambulance. Quit yapping and move her already. Damn. She's got numbers carved into her chest. I wonder if...
Outside of the window, there is an ambulance near the subway entrance, showing us that the other world is a real place, and that the consequences in that world are very real. There's also a note slipped under the door. Although the cult itself is gone, I'm sure the spirit of it is still alive. There are too many strange things happening in that town. I'm investigating 2 people, or maybe I should just say 1. I've just about discovered what's going on. April 8th. If we look outside of the door, there's just a man sweeping, and looking through the hole in the wall, we can see Eileen goes and checks out what's happening outside, and on her bed we can see our boy Robbie is just slumped.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit.
I put the placard and street coins into the storage for now, and with nothing else to do, we go in the bathroom. This time the hole looks slightly bigger. Also, I just want you guys to hear this bathroom because it sounds absolutely horrifying in here. So obviously we crawl through the hole, but this time Henry appears to be in some kind of forest. This environment is extremely dark and quiet compared to the subway. It's pretty eerie with the crickets chirping and the soft lighting of the lamps. On the other side of this gate, we can hear this. And I won't lie, it gave me a little spook. Alright, I was playing at night, it was quiet, don't judge me. A little further, we are met with some new enemies called hummers. They kind of look like a weird mix between hummingbirds and bats. They always appear in groups, and they are really annoying. Which is why I proceeded to kill all of them. Deeper into the forest, I find this car, and personally, if this was me, I'm driving this bitch like Jack Baker from Resident Evil 7. It's been a while since I came here to Silent Hill. Maybe I'll meet the devil this time, but whenever I come to a cool place like Silent Hill, I always get real thirsty. I'm not sure what that nosy guy meant when he said his home is the orphanage in the middle. The lake is northwest, so the opposite is southeast. The nosy guy said one other thing I don't understand. If you bring the dug up key, you can't go back. Put it away somewhere before you return there. Onward, we can find this strange man, claiming that we've come to investigate this rock that the natives called Nakihona. It was used to communicate with their dead ancestors, and apparently those guys are using it too. The same people who are in a strange building up ahead and are operating some kind of cult. That sounds extremely familiar, huh? Further ahead, we stumble upon the building the man was talking about, which looks like the orphanage referenced in that memo. There is a variety of graffiti on the walls, monkey bars, and crates full of toys scattered around. But as we try to enter, of course, it's locked. This is the Wish House Orphanage, and the name is in Comic Sans, which is pretty funny. This place was built by the Silent Hill Smile Support Society. It is a charity organization for children whom lack homes. So it's pretty odd that it's in a secluded forest in Silent Hill then, huh? So we know some weird shit was going on for sure. This place was also referenced in Silent Hill 3, so it's cool to see things come full circle. Just up ahead, there's a little boy who seems to be alone. That isn't until my boy Jasper chimes in, talking about a third revelation, and that a nosy guy said something bad is gonna happen. In this same area, there's a coffin that has a similar number to the one that was on Cynthia's chest. Going up northwest, we can stumble upon Toluca Lake, which is a nice little nod to Silent Hill 2, also obtaining a much needed medkit. Back at the Wish House, Jasper claims that the nosy guy gave him something really good, but we can't just have it for free, saying that he's very thirsty.
chocolate. Oh, chocolate.
If you remember, we had some chalky milk in our fridge, so we snag it and give it to Jasper. We take the blood-inscribed spade, with a message saying, opposite where the lake and house meet, inside the hand holding onto the ground. Now heading southeast, these tree roots look suspiciously like a pair of hands. And using the spade, Henry is able to dig up this blood-rusted key, saying that the holder of this key will wander for eternity. And yeah, if you try walking back, you'll be stuck in an infinite loop. So we put the key in storage, walk back to the wish house, and grab the key again to use it on the door. Inside, it's extremely run down, with furniture all over the place and paper scattered all about. There is one important piece of information here though. The third sign, and God said, return to the source through sin's temptation. Under the watchful eye of the demon, wander alone in the formless chaos. Only then will the four atonements be in alignment. Now smoke seems to be seeping from this door, so we snag the source plate and go inside, just to be greeted by Jasper, who is in absolute anguish, but he seems to be digging it.
I finally met him! The one the nosy guy talked about! The devil!
Hey, I don't kink shame, bro. He carves 17121 into his chest. So now we're really curious on who the devil and this nosy guy really are.
A special news report. In a forest near Silent Hill, the burned corpse of a 30-year-old male was discovered earlier today. The police have ruled it a homicide and are investigating. The numbers 17121 were reportedly carved into the man's body. Due to the marks on the victim, the police are investigating possible links to the Walter Sullivan case 10 years ago.
Now understanding that this case could be related to someone named Walter Sullivan and that it was 10 years ago, some pieces of the puzzle start to click. Walter Sullivan was a name mentioned in a memo found in Silent Hill 2, stating that the police announced today that Walter Sullivan, who was arrested on the 18th of this month for the brutal murder of Billy Locane and his sister Miriam, committed suicide in his jail cell early on the morning. And another memo states, but I do remember that just before they arrested him, he was blurting out all sorts of strange stuff, like, he's trying to kill me, he's trying to punish me, the monster, the red devil, forgive me, I did it, but it wasn't me. The superintendent is at the door. Henry even seems to try to call to him, but his efforts seem futile.
Help me! There's something wrong with this room! Help! Let me out of here!
Is anybody home? That's strange. That's the right key. I'm sure I heard something in there. Yeah, that sound. It's the same one as back then.
Back in the restroom, the hole is even bigger now. Henry goes in and is lying face down in a strange place. He gets up to someone desperately crying for help.
Get me out! Get me out of here! Help! Help! Get me out of here! Help! Help! Get me out of here!
And we can't even interact with him. Sorry, dude. This place is definitely some kind of prison because there are pillories and blood on the floor, accompanied by a bed and a toilet as well, even with the child's handwriting saying that they were being watched from the middle room. This building is so rusted and narrow, you can almost smell the damp air. All the way at the bottom is a water wheel, but it's not turning, so we snag the water prison exit key. There's also this pretty open room with a big ass door, and it looks pretty goofy, but there's nothing we can do with it at the moment. On our way back up, we make some new wall friends, and I use the key. But first, I return to the room real quick. There's a memo under the door. In case something happens to me, I've decided to write down what I've learned for whoever you are that's living in the apartment now. I've been investigating the mass murder that took place 7 years ago, in which 10 people were killed in 10 days. They were killed in a variety of ways, but the one thing they had in common was that each corpse had the following numbers, in which all the numbers look identical to Cynthia and Jasper. The name of their killer was carved into them as well. His name was Walter Sullivan. Whoever lived here prior to Henry is an absolute Chad for giving us this information. Well, this is also the same person that left us a gun and dug the hole into Eileen's room, so it makes sense. Back at the prison, climbing up, we can really see just how isolated this place is. It's absolutely shrouded in a blanket of fog, and there's just a sea of gray surrounding the area. Climbing all the way to the top, Henry turns this valve, allowing for water to flow inside the prison. On the 3rd floor, there's a new enemy called the Twin Victim. It looks to be a large set of sleeping conjoined twin infants. Try saying that twice as fast, holy shit. They have extremely pale skin and gigantic arms that they even walk on. This enemy is actually the manifestation of the twins Billy and Miriam Locane, which I mentioned earlier, and it's so interesting because none of Walter's other victims have been reincarnated into enemies. They only turn into ghosts, which we'll see later. Anyway, 2 doors down to the left, there's a room with a giant hole, so we jump. And the fact that Henry lands in the next room without falling all the way to the bottom astounds me. At the lowest level, there's a set of twin victims that scared the absolute shit out of me, so you know I had to murk them. We enter the middle room that was used to spy on the kids. In here, we learn that some of the cell doors physically can't even open anymore, and that the kids don't even go outside either. An excerpt from this memo states, "I can't open the doors, but from this room I can watch them get more and more emaciated each day. With no food and never showering themselves, they turn into smelly little gray lumps in there." That is just so horrible on so many levels. These poor kids, man. The next line says, "Following the suggestion of an engineer, we've disposed of the corpses by digging a hole below the cells. Since each floor of this building can be rotated independently, we can dispose of the bodies without the others noticing by aligning each cell with a body in it vertically." Okay, so how the actual hell do you make a cylindrical prison with rotating floors, but these fuckers can't be bothered to fix a door? Huh? Like, how are you so lazy, but also doing the most work at the same time? It's just so counterintuitive. At the top room, we find a code for a door in the back of the kitchen, 0302. Turning this valve to the right, the man from earlier is now free. Back down, we can find him talking to the little boy.
"Who is that boy? And who are you?" "His name's Walter. Walter Sullivan. I used to work at the orphanage watching the kids. I'm Andrew DeSalvo. They tried to make it seem like an orphanage, but according to that town's holy scriptures, it was actually the center of their religion."
With the newfound knowledge of that child being Walter Sullivan, we press onward. Back at the 3rd floor, we go 2 doors to the right this time and drop to the bottom once again. But this time, we drop into some kind of kitchen and obtain the watchfulness placard. And I guess it's too dark to input the code, so we need to rotate the rooms again. A couple more valve turns later, we return and put the code 0302. The camera pans over to Andrew in a pool of his blood with 18121 carved into his stomach. The dude got absolutely 0 screen time.
How's it going with room 302?
Well, I just tried to open it up, but it looks like something's blocking it from the inside. Anyway, it's not the first time. And it wasn't just him either. There's something wrong with his whole apartment. Well, anyway, I just slipped a note under his door. Don't worry about it too much. There are a lot of strange things in this world. The umbilical cord I keep in a box in my room. Lately it's started to smell terrible.
Umbilical cord?
Did this motherfucker just say that he keeps an umbilical cord in a box? This guy is actually Frank Sunderland, James's dad from Silent Hill 2. So you know my boy James was just destined to fail, I'ma be real. Under the door, we learn what the Swords of Obedience do, and these things are invaluable. They are the only things that can stop the ghosts. However, there are only 5 in the entire game, so we must use them sparingly. Looking out the door, there are now 3 additional handprints for Cynthia, Jasper, and Andrew respectively. Also, the bathroom looks like this now, so that's nice. Entering the hole, Henry appears to be in some kind of long and industrial corridor. This place seems incredibly distorted because why the hell is there a car up here? It also just sounds like Chicago. Down here, we are introduced to a new enemy, Gumheads. These things are oddly ape-like with decaying skin and gigantic protrusions on their neck, almost as if another head is trying to emerge from their bodies. They also sound like monkeys, but also make this odd feline sound. This could represent Walter's dislike for mankind as a whole, only seeing people as animals and nothing more. Or they could just be some fucking monkeys, what do I know? Next, this man tanks a 7-story fall like an absolute unit.
Ouch! Damn it, where the hell am I? You're a real person. You're the guy that lives across from me. I'm Richard Braintree, from 207.
Apparently, this is Richard Braintree. He lives in the same complex as we do in room 207, and he even realizes that something is wrong with the entire apartment building, even giving us more insight on the prior owner of room 302.
That must explain what happened to that other guy, too. Guy who lived in 302 before you. Journalist. He disappeared one day. He got pretty crazy towards the end. Shut himself up in his room and wouldn't come out? Anyway, I'm getting the hell out of here. You should too, if you know what's good for you.
Wait. Watch out for that kid.
I quickly go inside before this gumhead tries and high-fives me, and we see a ghost that's pinned down, grabbing a key from its hand and withdrawing the sword of obedience from its abdomen. Like I said, these swords are the only way to permanently stop the ghost, since they are practically... Down some stairs is some really strange imagery with a hyper-realistic and distorted mouth. Weird. But going through this door, we grab some bullets. Entering what seems to be some kind of pet shop. Sneaking past these dogs, we obtain Albert's sports key. Back up, we enter our room, but this time we are greeted with a message outside of the door. Better check on your neighbor soon. So I check on Eileen, and she's kind of just chilling. Back inside of the building, Henry takes his bat, then uses the key. Outside are some more gumheads blocking the path, but we make quick work of them with our beloved steel pipe. Hehe, fuck you. Going in this alleyway and entering the elevator, Henry has himself a sigh of relief. You're doing good, bud. But it's sadly interrupted by a conversation between Richard and the boy.
You the kid he was talking about? You live in that apartment too? Huh? Say, you look a lot like a little punk that I once caught sneaking around there. Do you know something about what's going on? Hey, you! Stop!
As unhinged as Richard is, he's been the only one to stand on business, even if that means waving a magnum around a child. Pressing the top button in this elevator, there is this incredibly long corridor that is riddled with ghosts. At the end of it is the spade and another sword, both incredibly significant items. Back down to the bottom, Henry descends this ladder. We take this nutrition drink, only to be met with Sausage Fest hallway. Up the ladder, we avoid all of this nonsense, only to be met with more bullshit, just so we can continue forward. We stumble into some kind of bar with a rusty axe on the table. I kill these little boogers on the wall and find a memo on the counter telling us about the last 4 digits of the bar's number. So like the savant I am, we look out the window to see the numbers 555-3750. Back in the bar, we input 3750 and voila. Our reward is, you guessed it, an incredibly long staircase accompanied by 2 awesome ghost friends. Yeah! This shit seriously felt like it lasted forever. I thought my game glitched or something, but nope. We snag the chaos placard and enter room 207. Inside, Richard is getting his brains absolutely fried with the numbers 19121 carved into his forehead. The kid points out the window and disappears. And I don't even know how this man is talking, but he tells us that that's not a kid. And it's the 11121 man. Could that really be true?
Looks like another one, Captain. Got 1121 on his head. It's just like that case from 10 years ago. Yeah, that Walter Sullivan case. But Sullivan's dead. They even got the body. Must be some crazy copycat. Yeah, but even so...
Everyone knows that this whole thing is related to the Walter Sullivan case, but it doesn't make any sense because they even have his body. This shit is just one big mess. Anyway, I put some stuff away. Oh, what's up, man? And entering the bathroom, the hole now looks complete. Henry even mentions how it doesn't even look man-made, and that he's seen this pattern before. What an observant little guy. As Henry awakens this time, a mysterious man is knocking on room 303, which just so happens to be Eileen's room. He hits the nastiest ding-dong ditch. You can tell he's experienced. I mean, just look at that corner pivot. This is the apartment world, and you know, things are not looking too different these days. In room 301, we attain a red paper and see a picture of the superintendent. We take his key and see the little boy knocking on our door before disappearing. Slipping the note under the door, our next objective is to get the key to room 303. Out to the stairwell, we see the mysterious man once again, and interacting with him, he says Eileen's mom gifted him a doll a long time ago, and would like to give it to us. Sorry bro, I don't take things from strangers, but seriously, don't take that doll. It only makes things worse. We first hit up Frank Sunderland's room, grabbing some more red papers and some apartment keys. Inspecting this red box, it seems to smell really bad, even finding this man's diary. It's a horrible story, abandoning a newborn baby. That all happened in room 302. And the umbilical cord I found there, well, I still can't get myself to throw it away. Why the actual hell did this man keep an umbilical cord? What the fuck is wrong with you? Into the hall across, I enter room 102. In here, we stomp out all the little boogers and open the fridge. And to our utter horror, we find a mutilated cat wrapped in a pair of jeans. But ooh, nice. Red piece of paper. The next room over, I get some bullets and the best weapon in the game. Just kidding, it's a model gun, but surely one of these are real. Nope. Alright, thanks Team Silent. On the second floor, going into room 203, there's another red paper in the bed. Back on the third floor in room 304, we grab some bullets. Returning outside, we hear this. With Eileen's impending doom, we make haste and place all of the notes under our door. On our return to the room, there's a note that clarifies that we've been reading these numbers all wrong. They're not just in a random order, but rather 1 out of 21, meaning that Walter was planning on killing 21 people, with now 19 out of 21 being dead. But another note tells us if we look near the bed, we'll find something, and lo and behold, I acquired the doll key right next to the bed. Before using the key, we make one last trip to Richard Braintree's room, and we obtain this revolver. Trust me, this thing is worth it. With nothing left for us here, we enter Eileen's room. We are met with an incredibly bloody scene as Walter is standing over Eileen with the numbers 20, 1 out of 21 on her back. And surprisingly, she musters up the strength to say her last couple of words.
This place, it's dangerous. You need to hurry. Get out of here.
This is the first time we see Henry break down over a victim. He's definitely grown some kind of attachment to her. You know, Henry didn't even ask for any of this. My guy just chose the wrong apartment to live in. Talk about wrong place, wrong time. But looking out the window, an ambulance takes Eileen, and peeping through the hole, this happens.
So they took the victim to St. Jerome's, huh?
Yeah, she's not gonna make it. She had numbers in her back, too. Walter Sullivan copycat. Round 3, huh?
Well, they never got the scumbag behind round 2 a few years back. Maybe it's the same guy.
What if 1, 2, and 3? What if they're all the same guy?
What the hell are you talking about?
Now Robbie's pointing at us like it's our fault, or maybe even that we are next. Next, we clear out our inventory and grab all of the placards. Inside of the laundry room, there's a bit of a mess in here, but regardless, I use the succubus talisman on this weird mark on the wall, and afterwards, a message appears. After he did the ritual of Holy Assumption, other worlds began to force their way into his universe, and it began to swell horribly. But his universe is different than ours. It has limits, and in the limits of that universe, he rules as a king, and in the deepest part of his kingdom is his mother. Putting all the placards in the coordinating depressions, a new hole appears in the wall, and like always, Henry crawls through. He awakens, this time being in some kind of hospital. We see a shadow of the man from earlier, partaking in some interesting activities, putting his hands inside the stomach of a woman that oddly looks like Claudia Wolf from Silent Hill 3. Then he looks at us like we interrupted his playtime, and starts walking towards us very goofily, but like, this shit is pretty intimidating. Henry leaves the room, but nah, fuck that. I want all the smoke. But sadly, he's nowhere to be seen, and we're met with a new enemy called the Patient. They're extremely tall, and I'm almost certain this is the lady my dude was putting work on earlier. And when you hit them, they make this sound. I couldn't even believe this was real. I was losing my shit when I heard them burping at me. Exploring the area, Henry stumbles upon Eileen's anatomical chart, revealing the various injuries that she suffered, and he seems so genuinely concerned for her. In the main hall, I kill some Hummers, and we find Eileen's bag on the ground, meaning that she has to be nearby. We pick up a med kit and go upstairs, only to see vegetable vestibule over here. Seriously, these wheelchairs actually hurt you. And avoiding them, we snag some much needed revolver bullets. In this room, there's an inconspicuous key here, and as we take it, a birdcage falls on top of Henry, but luckily this key unlocks it, so it really didn't do much. There are so many rooms in this hallway, so let's just speed through them. We grab some bullets, there's some bed penars, funny death prank, sticky jizz floor with some bullets, Saint Medallion, nutrition drink, head, but not the good kind. Seriously, this thing is horrifying. This giant head of Eileen could represent various ideologies, such as the violation of Eileen's privacy. This is shown as her eyes follow Henry's exact movements, kind of like how we've been doing looking into her room, although his intentions haven't been really negative or creepy. It could also represent a concern for her safety. I mean, we've seen Henry more emotional than he's ever been, which isn't saying much, but he definitely fears for her life. Lastly, it might be a representation of Eileen's trauma. For example, being beaten nearly to death, but then again, it might be none of these, or it might be all of them. What do I know? As these wheelchairs beat my ass, I'm finally able to use this key, and in this room, we find Eileen in a hospital bed. She seems to be in pretty bad shape, but it's good to know that she's still alive. She wakes up and starts to panic, but don't worry, Henry saves the day.
Eileen, relax.
She actually recognizes us and asks what we're doing here. Henry starts by claiming that there's a strange hole in his wall, and that he's seen numerous people get killed across multiple worlds, and that he even saw her get attacked as well. Eileen clearly doesn't believe us, but Henry persists. And not even 2 sentences later, she recalls everything, informing us that she was getting ready for a friend's party until the boy protected her from the man in the coat. He enlightens Eileen by telling her that the only way to get out of here is through the hole, and now she tags along as our companion. From here on out, this game is now one big escort mission, and immediately outside, some burpers await our arrival. I take Eileen to the hole, but she doesn't seem to be in the room with us. Back in the hospital, she appears to be relieved, even giving Henry a hug.
Have you been here the whole time?
Yeah, and I didn't see any hole either. You just disappeared all of a sudden.
I'm sorry, but Henry, how the fuck did you not notice that Eileen wasn't behind you after crawling into that long ass hole? God, this guy's dumb.
I can't stay here by myself. I'll be cursed. You know it. What am I gonna do?
I might know a way to save you. Do you know about someone named Joseph?
Yeah, he was the guy who lived in your apartment before you.
Yeah. He was doing an investigation about a religious cult and a man named Walter Sullivan. He told me to go down into the deepest part of him.
Henry, you could have worded that so much better.
Let's do that. There must be something down there.
Okay. I'll do it. You're the only chance I've got. I'll stick with you.
With hope to save Eileen, we use the key on this door, and oh god, what have I done? We kill the first burper only to get jumped by the other 2. I knock this fucker out, and she slips down the stairs, giving us time to finish this one off. And then it falls down again, causing me to miss my stomp. Exiting the hospital, we enter our room once again. The room doesn't heal us anymore, and now there are even hauntings, such as these windows going bonkers. To prevent these from happening, we need to use the holy candles, and too many hauntings will make this place unbearable. Entering this door, there's conveniently another candle. Through here, we defeat a gumhead and realize we're back in the subway station. Under our door, we obtain this toy key, and returning to the turnstile, Cynthia comes back from the dead. These are the ghosts I was talking about. I struggle to beat her ass and finally pin her with the sword. Using the streetline coin and entering the train, there's a toy box inside, and using the key, we obtain a filthy coin. It looks like we might use that coin on this vending machine, but it needs to be cleaned first. So going all the way down to the hole at the bottom, we wash the coin in the kitchen sink. Now we need to go up the coveted escalator, and this time I clear all these fuckers, and I mean all of them. At the top, we snag Cynthia's commuter ticket, and over here we can get some silver bullets. Upon using the coin on the vending machine, we also get the murder scene key. Returning to Eileen and using this key, we enter the room that Cynthia was murdered in, and luckily there's a train handle on the ground, and since the escalator is clear, this is so much more manageable. In the train, we place the handle, and it moves ever so slightly, allowing for us to grab the sword and leave the subway for good. That is until we are met with this eerie cutscene of the man in the coat, and it's pretty damn scary, so we're not gonna fuck around and find out. Next up is the Silent Hill Forest revisit. We need to pick up this torch and light it. That is until our boy jump scares the shit out of me. Holy shit! Investigating this well, we find a doll's head inside, and this man runs up on me once again. Oh my god, what the fuck? Get the fuck away! Eileen, please. Eileen, please. Please, Eileen, please. Come over here. Please, please. No. Arriving at the burnt down witch house, we find this mannequin with a wheelchair, placing the head on top with a little candle as a reward. The objective of this revisit is to retrieve all of the missing body parts of this doll. So I defeat these twin victims, finding a nutrition drink and some revolver bullets. Arriving at Toluca Lake, we see Walter yet again, and he seems to not really identify with his name, and that he doesn't have a home, and that he never got to meet his parents because they left South Ashfield after he was born. He tells us that he'll get to see his mom soon, and that he's gotta hurry. We grab the medallion and light this torch again, grabbing the doll's right leg in this well. Grabbing these silver bullets, we're also able to get the doll's left leg. Over at the rock, Jasper's bitch ass wants to be relevant so bad. I bust a silver cap in his ass, and you know we gave him the Cynthia treatment. Returning to where we were first introduced to the forest, we obtain the doll's right arm, and on the way back, I get the last remaining limb, being the left arm. There's also a chain on the monkey bars that happens to be a weapon for Eileen. Placing all of the limbs on the doll's body, it kinda just rolls back and falls, revealing a hole that we go down. Rather rather anticlimactic. We find out that Walter's been up to some bullshit, gathering white oil, the black cup, and the blood of the 10 sinners, aka the first 10 people Walter killed. After the ritual of Holy Assumption, he offed himself to gain the power of heaven, which is just the power to have some manipulation over the other world. By the way, the Holy Assumption was Walter killing the first 10 victims and then killing himself afterwards to obtain this power. The last sign mentions the Mother Reborn, who is Eileen, and the Receiver of Wisdom, which is Henry. And once we are both sacrificed, his mother will be reborn and the nation of sin will be redeemed. And I'm not gonna lie, I really don't want to be a part of Walter's agenda just because my guy has some mommy issues. So we press on into this abstract looking elevator that just so happens to plop us right down back in the prison. Right outside, this man already wants my cheeks. As I escape, we can actually go down the ladder and just wait for Eileen to come to us. On the 3rd floor, we jump down the holes again, and in the room that Andrew got clapped, there's a shirt with some wax on it. With a nice little drink and some more bullets in hand, I go back to the room and dunk the shirt in the bathtub, revealing a message that basically says, "The fat guy stole my boy's basement key." We find a sword under this bed and stunlock this goober to get some bullets. I return to Eileen for it's time to run. And don't worry, she's definitely not getting shot. Entering the downward hallway, Andrew's ghost arrives for peak male performance on live display. I pop his fat ass, pin him, and take his lunch money. The generator room looks a little different this time around as an army of twin victims fucking bum rushes my ass. I seriously had to fight for my damn life. Shit was horrifying. As we exit the prison, the ghost of Braintree swings by, and this man hits a nasty jig. The building revisit is probably the most uninteresting one. There's not really much new content around here, but we do find Walter chatting to the cloaked man. Walter starts yelling, telling him that he's gonna see his mom, and that the man needs to get out of the way.
Who are you, anyway?
My name's Walter. Walter Sullivan.
But plot twist, that's actually been Walter Sullivan this entire time. Bet you didn't see that coming. He says that they're gonna go see Mother and kidnaps himself.
Well, let's go and see Mother.
Let me go, that hurts.
Then Henry drops the most heartfelt reaction ever.
Damn.
In the bar yet again, there's another memo talking about them getting a new phone number. So I go to look out the window, but I'm rudely interrupted by this asshole ghost. Dialing the old number, we're told that the new one is 555-4890. And calling them, we just hear this. We go ahead and input 4890 just to guide Eileen down these stairs. Whilst a million hummers touch me, I grab a medkit and open this door. In here, we actually have a boss fight and its name is the One Truth. They're pretty much just a bigger version of the Wallmen, doing that same big ass swipe move, but now it does like twice the damage. The gimmick here is to find the correct one to hit. You'll know when that happens because all the others will take damage as well. And after a long time, and I mean a long fucking time, we're finally able to defeat them. The next door we go through brings us to an alternate version of room 302. This is Joseph, the prior owner of our room. He tells us that when Walter was a little boy, he thought that room 302 was actually his mother, and in order to free her, he learned about the 21 sacraments. He then performed the Holy Assumption, which I mentioned earlier, and has become nothing more than an inhuman killing machine. Even in his death, Walter continues to try and complete the 21 sacraments, which is sacrificing 21 people in order to bring the rebirth of his mother.
Number 20, the Mother Reborn, Eileen Galvin. Number 21, the Receiver of Wisdom, Henry Townshend.
Joseph ensures that there's still a little more time to stop him, telling us to follow the Crimson Tome, and if not, he'll catch us, no matter where we run. We need to find him and kill him, on some Liam Neeson shit. I yoink this pickaxe out of the wall and return to the actual room. Using the Pickaxe of Hope, we destroy this wall. As Henry goes to inspect what's inside, he starts to cover his mouth and nose in disgust. He continues to walk forward, and as a bottle falls, its cap seems to lead our eyes to something. We then see Walter's crucified body as Henry is absolutely flabbergasted, and honestly, so am I. We can explore this room a little, and I have expected this man to just jump scare the fuck out of me. Searching his body, we find the keys of liberation in his coat pocket. With these keys in hand, it's finally time to open this damn door. As we bust out, Eileen waddles her way over. In room 301, it's time to defeat some more twin victims. In the next room over, we pick up a sword, set foot through this hole, and exit the room, stumbling upon the corridor dog shit. Then I struggle to put down all these damn burpers. Upstairs, I grab some revolver bullets, and inside room 206, Walter really tried to sneak my ass. But hell nah, I came prepared, bitch. I fucking blast his ass, unloading the entire revolver on him, right before curb stomping my boy. Braintree also slides in, but me and Eileen jump this dude, effectively stun locking this man until we pin his bitch ass as well. Defeating this victim and going down these stairs, we enter the hall across, for we need to interact with all of these hanging Walters. Exiting back into the lobby, Eileen sympathizes with Walter, referring to him as the poor little boy. As messed up as Walter's situation is, that doesn't give this man the excuse to have murked all these people. I'm sorry, but you're definitely better than me, Eileen. In the supers room, Henry examines the red box of migraines.
Henry? Are you okay? It's Walter. He's crying. Even finishing the 21 sacraments? It won't help that boy. I'm going back, Henry. To the room where he is. We're the only ones. The only ones that can stop him.
I swear to God, Henry must really not want Eileen to live, because why the hell would you let her go alone to face Walter? But you know what? Whatever. With the umbilical cord in hand, it's time to return to our room. There's also a disturbing image of Eileen on the ground, so we make haste. Back to Walter's body, there's a hatch on the ground, and arriving in this red room, we see the other sacraments on the wall. Jumping in this hole, it's finally time to end this once and for all. There's a close-up on this machine that looks like a giant gyroscope surrounded by 4 rotating spiked rings. Walter created this to kill anyone who gets close enough, and as we stand at Walter face to face, his supposed mother lets out a scream. The first call of action is to use the umbilical cord on his mom, causing these spears to appear, so he must take them all out to impale his mother repeatedly. Did I mention that this man has instant transmission? Also, Eileen is now fully possessed, walking towards Walter's death cradle, and depending on how well you defended her, will determine her walk speed. I then proceed to beat this man's cheeks in, spamming charged attacks until he's dead.
Guess we'll have to find a new place to live, huh?
Okay, we've officially beat Silent Hill 4, so let's talk about the other endings. I'm gonna give a quick summary, and then I'll give my final verdict on this game. The next ending is called Mother. It's pretty much the same as the ending we got, which is called Escape. However, instead of Eileen finding a different place to live, she decides to move back into the apartment, but remnants of the other world still reside there. The next ending is called Eileen's Death. After defeating Walter, Henry awakens from his bed and hears this.
And now the news. Yesterday in Ashfield and the woods near Silent Hill, the bodies of 5 men and women were discovered. The police reported that all the murders appeared to be the work of the same perpetrator. They are continuing their investigation. 4 of the victims were found dead at the scene, and the 5th victim, a Miss Eileen Galvin, was transported to St. Jerome's Hospital, where she died a short time later. Police say that Miss Galvin's injuries matched exactly those of the other victims.
Eileen.
The final ending is called 21 Sacraments. After the boss fight, Kid Walter is laying on the couch in room 302, saying that he's home.
I'm home. I won't let anyone get in my way. I'm gonna stay with you forever.
And now the news. Yesterday, in Ashfield and the woods near Silent Hill, the bodies of 5 apparent murder victims and a 6th severely wounded female were discovered. The woman was immediately rushed to St. Jerome's Hospital, but died a short time later of her injuries. She has been identified as a Miss Eileen Galvin of Ashfield. The last body discovered was found in room 302 of the South Ashfield Heights apartments. It is believed to be that of its occupant, Henry Townshend. The body was reportedly disfigured beyond recognition, making identification impossible. Once again, we've got late-breaking news. 5 unnamed police officers have been found dead for reasons unknown in the South Ashfield Heights apartments, along with its superintendent, Mr. Frank Sunderland. All other residents of South Ashfield Heights have been rushed to St. Jerome's Hospital, many complaining of severe chest pain. These strange incidents are similar to the ones which occurred in Silent Hill some years ago. More news to follow.
Bro, this man disfigured Henry so bad that he was unidentifiable. He took that shit personal. This ending shows Walter succeeding and effectively completing the ritual. This is all he wanted. He thought that the apartment was his literal mother. My guy looks so disappointed though. The cult actually lied to Walter. The Holy Mother isn't even the apartment, obviously, and it seems to be like some type of god, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely the thing I put those spears in. But yeah, he was manipulated and deceived by the cult. Who would have thought? So quick recap. In the starting sequence of the game, we're actually seeing Joseph's last moments before he got tickled by the ghost, who just so happens to be Walter's first victim, Jimmy Stone. Then Henry's stuck in his room for 5 days until a strange hole appears. This hole has Henry going to a myriad of different worlds that are significant to Walter Sullivan in one way or another. The subway was how he would go and visit South Ashfield. The forest is where the Wish House orphanage is. The prison is where he was held captive, and the buildings is where he liked to play. Also, the apartments is obviously where he was born. In each of these worlds, we see a new victim every time. That being Cynthia, Jasper, Andrew, and Richard, who were victims 15 to 19. And for Bro to get his room back, he needed to sacrifice 21 people. The first 10 victims needed their hearts to be removed. The 11th required Walter's self-sacrifice, and the last 10 victims needed to represent something. Oh man, I have a bit to say, and you guys are definitely gonna hate me. I'll start with the things I didn't like. The ghosts. They're unkillable, do area of effect damage, and are just overall annoying. I understand that they're the prior victims, and lore-wise, that's cool, but oh my god, they suck. Revisits. Actually, sorry, the entire back half of the game. Once Eileen joins the party, this shit sucks, especially on a first playthrough, and I could say that about pretty much everything I'm gonna complain about. It is so unbelievably difficult to have this bitch follow you. Her AI sucks, and she almost never does what you want her to, especially when you walk out a damn door, and she needs to be in Henry's goddamn ass crack to follow you. I swear to god, she makes Ashley look like a saint. Okay, now it's revisits. Holy shit, they all felt tedious in some type of way. The subway with the wallmen, the forest with literally everything, on top of Walter and Jasper. The prison was just meh, and the buildings were so devoid of anything interesting. The room not healing anymore, and hauntings. The game takes away your natural source of healing right as it gets difficult, and you only get so many healing items that it could be horrible. The overall gameplay is janky. Not saying that Silent Hill is known for its riveting gameplay or anything, but holy shit, it's pretty bad here. The dodge mechanic never works. Some enemies just don't let you move, or they just put way too many in a tiny space. It's dumb. The positives. The main thing I enjoyed about Silent Hill 4 was the story. It was so good, tying everything back to previous games, and maybe even being a contender for the best in the franchise. The first half of the game was awesome, right up until the subway revisit. I thoroughly enjoyed my experience with the first half. It was very solid. Overall, I think the story was incredibly strong, but there was just too many moments in the game where I did not want to live anymore. That's really all I got. I think that aspects of this game are underrated until I think about all its flaws. With that said, I don't think I'll be replaying it anytime soon. But yeah, let me know your opinions, experiences, and any other theories you have. I also have some other videos on the Silent Hill series if you're interested. This video took me quite a while to make, so I'd really appreciate a like and for you to subscribe. It helps much more than you know. But with that all said, I'll see you next time. Love ya. Bye.